Hello, everybody.
Welcome, episode 2. We're back, featuring the most beautiful helmet I can think of.
I don't know about that one. But...
All right, well, let's get right into it. So, the Super Bowl. What do you think?
It was one of the better ones I've ever seen, but I don't know. Kind of felt like they should have been a little bit more. Kind of felt underwhelming, even though it was a really good game to watch.
You mean like more action in it?
Yeah, I feel like in the beginning of the second half, obviously there was that missed face mask call on T. Higgins, but
Yeah.
I feel like after that, like the Bengals just went like what 0 for 5, 3 and outs.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
there was a lot of offensive stalling there.
I agree with that. Like that's perfect wording for that. Just like the offense on both sides just kind of stalled. Like the first half was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone guns out. Like everything was going good, but second half it kind of just felt like flat.
Yeah.
For lack of better words.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm happy. I knew it was gonna be a close game. A lot of people were predicting a blowout with the Rams, but I knew it was gonna be close. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm content with the winner, obviously, because LA's literally down the street.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess it was one of those Super Bowls where I don't think anyone could really get angry about anything or what would be the outcome. Like the Rams won, Stafford got his ring, Aaron Donald got his ring, Jalen Ramsey got his ring, OBJ got his ring, Cooper Kupp got his ring on his MVP caliber season.
Yeah.
Greatest single season ever. Better than Jerry Rice, unfortunately. But even if the Bengals won, like Joe Burrow comes off an ACL injury in his second year, wins the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase, best rookie wide receiver, making a case to be top 5 in the league, gets a ring. T. Higgins gets his ring. Yeah, honestly, I'm content. That was a good Super Bowl. And the halftime show was great too.
Man, that halftime show was awesome.
It was I was not expecting 50 Cent at all.
No.
But as soon as I saw him hanging upside down, I was like, bro.
All-time Super Bowl performance. People were saying it was the best one since Prince.
Yeah.
We weren't even alive to see that one, so...
Well, yeah, but...
We might have been alive. I don't know what year he did it, but...
let me check.
We certainly weren't up there watching Super Bowls when he was doing it. 2016? No,
that was
not.
That
was...
That's XLI.
XL. Oh my god, that was a long time ago.
From the 90s, no? 2007.
Oh, never mind.
No, that was not too long ago.
Oh, XLI. My bad.
That was not
I thought that was like 16. I was like, jeez. Okay, so.
Not too bad.
I was 4. No, I was less. I was 3.
I was 4. No, I was 3 too.
Yeah. So we were 3 when the next
3.
great Super Bowl performance was. So credit to them. They were really good.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Kendrick Lamar's, I think, was the highlight of that one.
He did well.
In my opinion. Mm-hmm. Dr. Dre was great too. A lot of controversy though. A lot of people weren't happy with Eminem taking a knee, but I don't think they realized he was taking a knee in honor of Tupac, not any other thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they realized that.
Yeah, they had that, and then for some reason I think I heard that SoFi was like, hey, Snoop Dogg, don't wear anything don't wear bandanas or anything. We don't want to be gang affiliated. Yeah. And then he wore an entire bandana.
Dripped out, he was crip walking all over the stage. It was great. It was great.
So, good halftime show, but also Jamar Chase roasted.
Oh God, yeah.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey got burned.
What was it, 160 yards?
Yeah. If the Bengals would have won, it would be Jalen Ramsey with all the burnt toast memes, not Eli Apple.
Yeah, he was the Eli Apple for the Rams, which was surprising. I thought it would be Darius Williams, but
I'm not gonna hop on that train. I like Darius Williams.
I really don't, and I was surprised. Like, credit to him for not letting his targets be more open than Ramsey.
Oh God! Literally, last play of the game. If Joe Burrow had like 1 or 2 more seconds, it's game over.
Yeah, just half a second more. If he wasn't getting hugged immediately.
Yeah. It would be game over. Jamar Chase literally had Jalen Ramsey on the floor.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been a very different narrative.
Yeah.
Had that sack not happened. Because Burrow would have hit him. It would have been a touchdown. The game would have been close. And then there would be another chance for the Rams because there was, 125?
Yeah.
So.
There is about like a... No, I think there's only 43 seconds left. I don't think there was.
Oh, yeah, it was 125
under,
when they started.
I think it was under a minute when there would have been enough time. Honestly, though, I think the Rams they could have done it.
Oh, yeah.
With 42 seconds, I'm pretty sure they had all their timeouts as well.
Yeah, like, Jamar Chase would have had to take a knee at, like, the 1 and just let them run down the clock before they scored that touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a wild ride to see what happened there.
Honestly, if that were the case, I think that Super Bowl would go down as one of the greats. Cause then,
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be basically like when a couple years ago when Stephon Diggs when he was on the Vikings.
Oh my goodness.
When he got that walk-off touchdown against the
Minneapolis
Saints.
Miracle.
That was insane. I remember going crazy watching that game because I wanted the Vikings to win.
Man, that was crazy. But yeah, so Aaron Donald, there were rumors that if he won, there would be a retirement. But
I
then
don't think he will, personally.
There are other reports after the win saying, hey, he might not retire if they restructure his contract to make him the highest paid NFL player that isn't a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think he will. I mean, during the Super Bowl parade, he said, why not run it back? So, I don't think he retires. I think he tries to go and goes for a second ring. And honestly, with the way that the Rams are structured, I don't doubt they can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, he's just going to want to be able to beat TJ Watt, which I think he's making, $28 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, the Rams are going to want to dish out that money because they don't want to see a post Aaron Donald defensive line, really. Because, they got Von Miller back, but if you don't have any ends that can play that same system that they run, which, of course, I've done an episode on how that system runs, but if you don't have someone who can play that system, you're really screwed. And yeah, you can have the outside linebackers like Von Miller who can step right in. But people like Aaron Donald don't come out every day. And especially with their lack of draft capital, you kind of have to keep the guys that you have and like ensure that your free agents don't run around too much. Just because otherwise you're kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron Donald probably won't retire, but if he does, this will be a wild ride. Because he's been in the league at most 8 years.
Yeah, he's only been in the league for 8 years.
And like, he has, 2, 3?
I mean, if you were to retire now, he would still go down as one of the greatest defensive ends or defensive tackles to ever do it, if not the best. I mean, 8 years in the league, 8-time Pro Bowl, 7-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. It's like, the man's a monster. Like, I don't think any other player can really have those, can say that they were that good. I mean, most of the time, like, the really defensive studs, like Lawrence Taylor, Michael Strahan, they usually took a little bit in the league until they started making a name for themselves.
Yeah.
This guy did it from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I'm just very happy, and yeah, I don't think he retires. I think he comes back and runs it back one more time.
Yeah, I can't really imagine him retiring just because it would have been kind of a shock. Like, oh, he's just gone now.
Yeah, that's why I'm still kind of upset over the Brady retirement. Because I feel like at least give us a warning in the beginning. Say like, oh, this is my last ride. I'm like, oh, okay, then it's like more sentimental instead of he takes an L in the championship game, right? Or
divisional.
The divisional game, and just calls it quits after. It's like, well, that's just kind of shitty. It's not a good ending to your legacy. At least let us know if it's your last ride. If you don't make it, then
yeah.
I don't know. I'm still kind of salty over that retirement.
I mean, there's all sorts of rumors that he might not retire and that, oh, he might want to retire with the San Francisco 49ers. Or, oh, just give him 6 months and he's back. I think that 49ers one is a little bit wild just because...
He is from the Bay Area, though.
Yeah, and he grew up liking the 49ers. There's reason for him to want to play for the Niners. It's just, why would he come out of retirement just to play for the Niners? I don't really know.
Because he ends for his home team.
Yeah, but does he care that much? At 44?
Probably not.
Probably not. Because then he has to go into age 45, age 46. Like, how long is he going to wait to win that Super Bowl? Because there's no guarantee he can win it immediately when he joins the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because one bad luck on your safety, one dropped interception, and you lose a game that was in your hands.
Yeah.
Because thanks, Tart. You ruined it for all of us.
Nah, I was happy when he dropped it. I mean, it kind of makes up because there's a bunch of drop passes on the Rams' behalf, so.
Yeah, there were a lot, so.
Like number 18, I still don't know how to pronounce
Skowronek. I had to talk about him in my video, and man, that's one hell of a name to spell.
He is ass. He literally in the Super Bowl, it was a little dump pass and it deflected off his arm for a pick. I'm like, oh my God. When that happened, it was right after the Bengals scored, too. Mm-hmm. It was right after. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking bum.
Yeah, that was a bad momentum shift for him. It was like
I thought the game was over after that, to be honest.
And then nobody could score. So
yeah.
Yikes. But yeah. So another one that I want to focus on that's kind of Super Bowl related. Are the Bengals even built to kind of repeat? Can they run it back at all?
This next year, no. I don't think so. I think this year was kind of like they outperformed their expectations, but as far as their team, I absolutely believe that they can come back. Maybe not next year. I mean, this year was kind of a fluke, but for sure, like they have a young stud at quarterback, like a really good receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad defense at all.
They definitely need secondary help.
Yeah, they definitely need secondary help, but like as far as like the middle, they're pretty solid there.
Yeah, I mean they need like a linebacker, but overall they're pretty good in that sense. I mean, I was kind of talk about their division because they're a talented team, but
Steelers, Ravens.
The Steelers suck. I'll be honest.
Trash.
The Steelers are falling down, but the Ravens were plagued by injuries, and so were the Browns. With those two teams being healthy,
Baker Mayfield's a bum.
He was also injured.
I still have him ranked. I have him ranked pretty low.
I know you do. I had a feeling. You seem like that. But Baker Mayfield won't be as bad next year. I know he was really bad, but he won't be as bad. Plus, he's playing for a contract, essentially. And hopefully he won't have to play hurt, because why did they keep playing him when he had a torn labrum? I don't know. But that and the Ravens had so many injuries. They were the most injured team in the entire NFL. So to be able to say, like, oh, the Bengals are going to run it back, the Bengals are going to be back, it's not that obvious, just because when you look at their division and you look at how many games they have to win that were free this year that aren't going to be free next year, it's scary. If I'm a Bengals fan, I'm concerned. This was our chance to win if I'm a Bengals fan, and now you have to get through a gauntlet of a division, because maybe the Steelers step it up, right? And they have a good defense, or maybe they step it up and their offense can do it. I don't think so, but even if they don't, you still have to run through the Ravens, who are a championship team, and the Browns, who, if Baker Mayfield plays at a serviceable level, are also a championship team.
That is a stretch, my friend. I am sorry.
No, it's not. I do a whole in-depth analysis. If Baker Mayfield plays well, which is the stretch, they have to run through two championship teams. If not, they still have to run through two playoff teams, because it's undeniable that the Browns at full health are a playoff team.
Oh, yeah.
Even with Baker Mayfield playing at like the average Baker Mayfield level, you no matter what are going to end up with two really, really good teams that you have to play against, who at best you can split with, just because they like to run, and the Bengals weren't phenomenal against run, but they were top 10, so credit to them. But they can also pass okay, and that would be the concern. So the Bengals really have to draft well if they want to have a chance at getting back into the playoff run. And they also have to hope Baker Mayfield sucks, so I would get another edge rusher just so I could beat him up.
Yeah.
But that's more of like we got to hope that you're drafting for your division now.
It's a lot of hopes and dreams that really...
Yeah.
It's a lot of dependencies on a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I look at the draft a lot, and a lot of teams are drafting, especially if you're an AFC team and you're a playoff team, you're drafting who can man cover Travis Kelce, who can man cover Tyreek Hill. You're drafting for a certain player, typically on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But when you're the Bengals, you're at a point where you're not drafting to be the Chiefs. You're drafting to be the Ravens and the Browns and the Steelers. You're drafting to even have a chance in your own division. So they're in a really interesting spot where they're a really good team, but so is everyone else.
Yeah. The AFC is fucking stacked.
Yeah, the AFC is really good, and the AFC North happens to have 3 really good teams in there that are all going to be vying for, at most, 2 playoff spots, because chances are they're not going to be like the NFC West this year, where 3 teams out of the 4 get into the playoffs. That was super unlikely, and only happened because the NFC sucked this year. Like, if the Eagles are a playoff team, we're in a bad spot as a conference. So,
you do have a point.
Yeah. When the Eagles are actually considered a playoff team and get to face the number 2 seed, man, what a shame. But I'll hold my Eagles slander for a little bit later. I'll move on to something that you're working on right now, the QB rankings.
Yeah,
so
I'm just changing shit right now.
You can go ahead and go first. I guess we'll start with top 5,
okay,
and then maybe break down to top 10 and move in like increments. That way
okay,
we can kind of talk about, why did this person not make it and this person did. So give us your top 5.
Top 5, I have Patrick Mahomes at 1, Josh Allen at 2, Aaron Rodgers at 3, Lamar Jackson at 4, and Joe Burrow at 5.
You want to give any insight on why?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you can't really fight. There isn't really a spot where you can actually fight that at all. Josh Allen, I mean, again, it's also Josh Allen. Like, he's a stud.
Yeah.
He has so many great physical attributes. He's improved a lot since his rookie year. So that's why I have him at 2. Aaron Rodgers at 3. I would have Aaron Rodgers higher if it wasn't Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen in the 1 and 2 spot.
There's a lot of really elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's the thing with the NFL is that there's a lot of like really good quarterbacks, and then after a certain point, it drops off.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after like 10, it's like, oh, where do we go now?
Yeah. That was my issue of making this list. After 10, I was like, fuck, who do I put at the rest of the spots? They're all kind of shit. Or they're good, but they're like, nah.
They're not elite.
That elite.
There's no clear gradient. It's more of a cliff.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson at 4. Even though he is injured, I do feel like with the talent that Lamar Jackson has, he should be in the top 5 stocks. And then Joe Shiesty at 5.
I like it. Yeah. Do you think any of that is recency bias with Burrow?
No.
Good.
Okay, I don't think so. I remember I was watching him at LSU and just thinking like, this guy's a fucking stud. And then he proved it. Like literally his rookie year, he was doing well. And then the ACL tear. But even this year too, during the regular season, he has that swagger. He's everything the Browns thought Baker Mayfield was going to be.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
no,
like
he's
I get
a young college guy with the swagger that can guide a team.
But they are so different in play style.
That is fair.
And so maybe personality wise, but like they wanted something else from Baker Mayfield than Joe Burrow, and they got what they want except for this year. I'll go into my top 5. Kind of has the same people. Only one difference. It has Aaron Rodgers 1, Josh Allen 2, Lamar Jackson 3, Joe Burrow 4, and Justin Herbert 5.
You don't have Patrick Mahomes in your top
he
5?
fell at 6 for me. So
why?
What I see it as is I kind of tried to put them in a vacuum. I tried to go, all right, we put them on the same team. Who's going to have the most success?
Well, what team did you pick?
It was a neutral team. You know, you give them some good players, decent line, you know. You give them everything to be a good quarterback, and you see, all right, who would be the best? I think Aaron Rodgers, just because, I don't know, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan in the sense that he's a really, really good talent, and if he could just focus up almost, he would be even better. But he has a little bit of just like off-field stuff kind of distracting from everything else, and everyone wants to make rumors about, oh, where's he going to go? It's just, if he was just put on a team where it's simple, I think he's number 1. Plus, he won MVP, so kind of hard not to put him at number 1, especially with Tom Brady gone.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, we agreed at 2. Josh Allen's my favorite player in the NFL, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not even a Bills fan.
Yeah.
But, man, I love that guy. He's improved a lot. He's got a cannon of an arm. And he got even better this year than last year when it comes to spreading the ball around, being able to pick up the easy third down and shorts. Because he was trying to go deep so much last year. But this season, he was able to, it's a check down time. It's time to get the free yardage. You don't have to try to push something. He didn't only throw the ball to Diggs. So credit to him for improving in the sense that he's a better quarterback now.
What the heck?
And then...
Where'd this player go?
Forgot.
No.
It's because you have Jimmy G and Trey Lance.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm retarded.
All right. You can work on that. I'll keep talking. So, at number 3, Lamar Jackson. He is really, really good, and I still think that you put him on a lot of teams in the NFL, he'll find success. It's not a Ravens thing. It's not a system thing. And you give him I'm going to say you give him a better receiving core. You give him a healthy receiving core where you have Mark Andrews, you have Hollywood Brown, but most importantly, Rashad Bateman's healthy. I really like Rashad Bateman on the Ravens. I think he's a really, really good fit. So by doing that, I think Lamar Jackson absolutely is number 3. Just because he brings so much to the table, and while everyone goes, oh, he can't throw, yes, he can. He proved it this year that he can throw. He isn't Josh Allen with throwing, but he doesn't need to be because he's so effective with his legs. And then just like that, you bring the defense in, then you throw it over them. You don't have to be Josh Allen all the time. Number 4, Joe Burrow. This was mostly, is he higher than Justin Herbert? Is he higher than Patrick Mahomes? Yes, so he's 4. Because Joe Burrow, the only issue you can even find with him is how long he can take sometimes for developing plays, just because the Bengals run a lot of deep plays. Yeah. But I think if you give him a line, or if you put him, just copy paste, you put him on the Chiefs, he will have better numbers than Patrick Mahomes. Which, I know it's bold, but that's my take on it. Because he's so accurate in the deep ball. He doesn't take these wild risks where it could put his team in jeopardy. He just is good. And he still has room to improve. So, because he's just so, solid, there's not many issues with him. It's hard not to put him at something like 4, where he's just so good. That's what it comes down to. When you think of him, you don't think of, running around, making some crazy backyard football throw. You just think of him sitting in the pocket, not for that long, and just hitting Jamar Chase on a Hail Mary. But it's not really a Hail Mary because he's just good and he'll land it right where it needs to be.
Just a good seam route down the sideline.
Yeah, he's just solid. And then Herbert at 5, I can't wait to see what he does with the good O-line. In potentially a slightly better receiving core. Because, Keenan Allen's good. But if Mike Williams is your 2, and I know who his 3 is, but most people don't really know who his 3 is, and Jared Cook's your tight end, and you don't really have an O-line, and your only other available passing option is to check down to Eckler, who is a good player, but I don't want to check down to Eckler all the time.
True.
He has so much more potential than the Chargers are letting him show right now. They're building around it, obviously, so I'm not concerned that he won't be able to show it, but I think Justin Herbert has so much more room to grow, and he's already one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And then Patrick Mahomes at 6. I'll just go right into 6 through 10 then. I just think his decision-making and his want to run around throwing the football crazy, you put him on a team that isn't the Chiefs, I don't know if you'll find nearly as much success. Just because, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Travis Kelce, Jarrett McKinnon is good, which, of course, they're going to find a good running back right when we think, they're finally going to fall down. They go, no, by the way, we found a good running back. Of course. So he has an elite O-line. He has everything he wants. So I think, really, he has a little bit more decision-making practice to work on before he could be in that top 5 for me. Mm-hmm. Just because you look at earlier in the season, people were just shutting him down completely.
Yeah, it was rough.
A quarterback, at most, Aaron Rodgers was MVP, but he had one bad game all year. Yeah. And then he missed a game for COVID. But when you have, 6 games where you just suck, and then you start to only gain traction because you beat the Aaron Rodgers-less Jordan Love-led Packers, and then you beat the Washington football team at the time, which that's the easiest win you can get if you're trying to rebuild this year, because Taylor Heineke's not going to take advantage of all your mistakes, and William Jackson III can't zone cover at all. So you're going to hear a lot about William Jackson III over this offseason. I hate him so much. But I think he has a lot of decision-making flaws that could easily be ironed out. And I'm sure it would take him less than a year to iron out on a neutral team, like what I kind of put these guys in. But he's not on one. And even then, most of the guys ahead of him would automatically fit with that neutral team. Whereas Mahomes would take a second because he's just used to, Tyreek Hill's open 30 yards down the field. Let me just run around a little bit until he gets open and then throw it. Yeah. At some point, you're going to have to be a good quarterback and be able to make a decision where you're like, I have to check down. I have to hit a shorter route. You can't always go big. And part of it is Andy Reid's fault because he does try to get a little bit too creative sometimes, especially in the red zone. But either way, he still has more room to grow as well, which I hate because I don't want the Chiefs to keep winning, but there's so much room to keep winning. So credit to him. But then 7, Matthew Stafford, 8, Kyler Murray, 9, Russell Wilson, and 10, Derek Carr. I know we both agreed on...
my numbers changed around.
Okay, but after Mahomes, I feel like Stafford perfectly fits the Rams system. I just did a video last night on why he's so perfect there. He's got a strong arm. He's decent with decision making. I'd like to see him get a little bit better with it next year because he did have 17 interceptions, I think.
Yeah, he was tied for first with Trevor Lawrence with the most picks this year.
So he could lower the picks, but
the thing is,
some of them were.
A lot of them weren't even his fault, though.
Yeah.
Like a good portion of them weren't even his fault. It's just tip balls or fucking shitty choleric.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, he had 17 interceptions, but how many of them were really a bad decision versus, something happened or situation?
One was awful. The first pick in the Super Bowl was shit.
What was the first one?
He motioned out and then he sent someone downfield and then he just hucked it and was a pick in the end zone.
Oh man, I don't know if I remember that. I definitely watched it.
It was his first one, I think.
Nice.
That one was very Lions-esque.
Yeah, you felt the lines in him a little bit. Then Kyler Murray, I know he's got a lot of negative energy right now, but you take him out of a Cliff Kingsbury system, he's going to do so well. Mm-hmm. Cliff Kingsbury I talked about it literally last week. Kingsbury is wholeheartedly bringing down the Cardinals and every player on the Cardinals. Mm. So you take him out of the equation. You put Murray back up there. I have a lot of confidence of it. And then Russell Wilson, I see very similar to Kyler Murray. It's just he's kind of hit his ceiling almost. Mm-hmm. I mean, he can go back to his 2014 stage if he goes to a better team or a team better to suit him. Mm-hmm. Because now they don't have a good O-line. They got no running game really until they force it. Like, cool, Rashad Penny's good 2 weeks a year, and so is Chris Carson, but then they both get hurt, and then it's like, well, now we're running with Alex Collins. Cool. Who cares? So you put Russell Wilson on a better team, I think he'll be even better. But with what we know about Russell Wilson, he's so used to having a bad O-line that I can't put him ahead of someone like Kyler Murray. And I know, I have a lot of respect for Wilson, and I think he will get better if he gets traded. Mm-hmm. But right now, he's 9 for me. And then 10, Derek Carr. Can you imagine what he could do on not the Raiders? Anyone but the Raiders? Mm-hmm. He would be so much better. He's got subpar O-line. He's got 2 good receiving options. But after that, it's like, okay, what? You want to check down to Josh Jacobs every time? That's not a winning strategy, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, some of his receivers sort of stepped up near the end of the season, but they need a wide receiver, which is why they take one in my mock draft, which is on my website. I gotta plug it. But Derek Carr, I think, people say he's underrated, so I don't know if he's underrated anymore, just because so many people are saying, oh my god, he's underrated. But people don't seem to realize just how good he would be in a vacuum. Just put Derek Carr as Derek Carr. He will be very good. Mm-hmm. All right, you can go into your top 10 now.
At 6, I have Russell Wilson, just because it's Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's been good. So he's been so good for these last few years. Obviously, the team around him has deteriorated over the last few years.
God,
hence the really shit record this last season and not doing so hot the previous season before that. Like you said, also, I feel like if you put Russell Wilson on a better team, he surges back to how it used to be.
Yes.
That's why I have him at 6. I have Justin Herbert at 7, only because the Chargers are holding him back. I feel like, the Chargers are in a really good spot. They have a decent draft pick. They have a shit ton of cap space, which is really good. So I feel like if they get the right pieces together and surround Justin Herbert with it, I feel like he could go into the top 5 by next year.
Oh yeah, all right. Who do you think he could take the place of?
For my current top 5,
yeah,
probably Lamar Jackson. Either Lamar or Joe Burrow. I don't see him surpassing Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers, but it's not a guarantee Aaron Rodgers will play past next year.
Yeah.
He's in his late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady played till he was 44, but it's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Okay, at 7, I had Justin Herbert. 8, I had Dak Prescott. I have him in my top 10 because I believe he does have the tools to be a great quarterback. It's just a matter of scheme. Then McCarthy was the head coach, but he wasn't calling the shots. It was the old quarterback. That's not shit. What was it?
For which team?
The Cowboys.
Oh, it was Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a good coach too. I'll give him props, but I feel like with Dak Prescott, what he was able to do with the team he had, put him at 8. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper. It's a great core.
Outside of the most elite wide receiver group in the NFL, and Dalton Schultz, and a good running game, and one of the top 5 O-lines in the NFL.
Sure, yeah. We'll go with that. Kyler Murray at 9. Like you also mentioned before, Cliff Kingsbury's holding him back. I feel like get him a better head coach and figure out something that works for him rather than having him roll out every other play. He can get into the top, at least higher, and they have Stafford at 10. Just because it's...
So, why do you have Stafford over Derek Carr? Which is only one place. He's 10 and 11, so...
I have Stafford over Derek Carr because, for one, he won a ring. Just to put that out there, even though that doesn't really mean shit, but I have Stafford over Carr just because Matt Stafford was on such an ass team for like the last fucking 12 years. In the last 12 years, he gets... Because normally it takes for a new quarterback to get on a new team, usually it takes a little bit for them to adjust, but he was able to go in guns ready, guns a-blazing first thing, and because of that, he was able to lead. Yeah, he did have some hiccups here and there, but I just have him. I just feel like he is slightly better than Derek Carr as of right now.
That's fair. All right. I also agree with you that he's better. I was just interested to see your argument for why Derek Carr is in the top 10. So,
well, I originally did have him top 10, but I forgot to include Dak Prescott on my list. So I slid him in there and bumped everyone down a spot.
That's fair.
But he was in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's for got a player.
All right. Then I'll go into my 10 or my 11 through 15. And this is where I see the cliff. After Derek Carr, I see a cliff. And that I know you disagree, but it includes Dak Prescott because, like I was kind of saying when he was talking, Dak Prescott has a top 5 O-line, a top, what do you want to say, top 2 wide receiver core?
No.
Top 3 at worst.
Yeah.
Even if you go top 5. Let's just say top 5 be as widely liberal as we want to be.
Yeah.
Top 5. He also still had Dalton Schultz. He still had 2 running backs who are consistently decent. Whichever one was off, they just put the other one in, and he did well.
Ezekiel Elliott's a bust, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not worth his draft pick, but he's still a serviceable running back who gets the job done. And when he doesn't get the job done, Pollard always stepped in and did the job that they wanted Zeke to do.
That's fair.
So between those two, there was always a good running game. He's got a top 5 O-line. He's got a top 5 receiving core. I think he is a disappointment. You put $40 million in that man's pocket per year, and he comes out and can't win a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the defense isn't great, but you shouldn't only be putting up 50 points against a team that's now tanking with the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Because, cool, you guys beat us 56-14. Washington already gave up. They just wanted a better draft spot. There was no chance we made the playoffs. There was no chance we won the division. It was over. It was, let's just send it. Let's see if some of these guys can play. And let's plan for next year where we can get a better quarterback. And let's try to look for another corner because William Jackson III sucks. I always have to drop that in there. But Dak Prescott can't do anything against a team that's decent. He is such a cowboy. It's perfect. He's going to cost them way too much money for his skill level. He's going to disappoint when the time matters the most. He's going to lose on primetime television. And people are still going to act like he's the best. Mm. He's not. He was really good before he, broke his leg last year?
Yeah.
But
he was
didn't,
on pace to break a shit.
Yeah, credit to him. He was really good then. But then people kind of clung on to that image of, oh, he's really good. He shouldn't have even gotten any comeback player of the year votes because he was the sole reason the Cowboys stalled in the middle of the season. The Cowboys couldn't win against any teams for a while. They barely beat the Patriots. They got shut down, which I watched a whole analysis on the Denver Broncos game, which I don't know if you remember it, but in November, they played the Denver Broncos and put up 14 total points. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They got crushed by the Broncos. And it was the Broncos defense is good, but it should never be a question of can the offense get the job done for the Cowboys. And then you watch it, and it's Dak Prescott was getting beat by some of the most basic coverages. It was things like cover 1 rat, which I had to research into what it was. It is one of the most basic man coverages around. Mm-hmm. And he was getting crushed. He was throwing picks into it. This is something that high school players run. And Dak Prescott was getting beat by it. And it's not like the Broncos have the greatest defense ever. He just straight up wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he needs to step up if the Cowboys really want to have a chance at ever getting the championship game. Because, yeah, the division's down right now, so you're going to go in the playoffs a lot. But the division, you got the Eagles and the Washington football, or now that the Commanders, are both kind of climbing up. They're in the right direction. And then the Cowboys are kind of almost in the wrong direction because every time they seem to get something good going, you go and pay $40 million to a guy who's never going to live up to $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be playing like Aaron Rodgers to be $40 million. And he doesn't even land in my top 10. Like, that's kind of a disappointment. And then after Prescott, it's Cousins, and then Jameis Winston, then Baker Mayfield, then Matt Ryan. I guess we'll go to 16 because it makes more sense to break it at the half. And then Tua Tagovailoa.
I don't even have Jameis Winston on here.
Yeah, you put Taysom Hill.
I put Taysom Hill as the starter because Jameis Winston got hurt like early in the
8 games in, so it was about halfway.
Yeah.
What, they were 5-3?
I don't know.
So I looked at it as, all right, who's next in this cliff? Because Derek Carr, you drop, then there's Dak. No doubt about it, Dak would be after Derek Carr. He's the first one after that cliff, without a question to me. But then it's who? Kirk Cousins, yes, he's getting overpaid for what he's doing, but he's pretty good. Like, Kirk Cousins gets the job done most of the time. He's pretty effective. They can't really live without him. What was that one game where he got hurt, I think? Or he was out for COVID, one of the two. They had, Kellen Mond and... I forget his name, but he was the guy who never wins. You know what I'm talking about? He's never won a game. No. That was the Saints.
Oh, wait, who were we talking about?
The Vikings. It was Kellen Mond. And, I forget his name. He is like a historic loser. Hang on.
Historic loser?
He's like never won a game, even though he's played like hundreds of career games.
God, that's sad.
It was crazy, and he played and they lost. Sean Mannion. Yeah, he's a historic loser. He's horrible. But like, they're a pretty good team. It's just he doesn't give up elite numbers. He's not an elite quarterback. There's no question about that. But he's pretty good. He's above all the other guys. Because, yeah, he's a good quarterback. He gets the job done. He doesn't turn the ball over that much. But he doesn't have a clutch gene. He doesn't make crazy plays. He kind of puts it up to his skill players to do all the good things. Which, that's kind of what you want from a decent quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then Winston was putting up great numbers until he got hurt. So we don't know if he can maintain those great numbers. And that's why he's at 13 instead of something like 11. Because... yeah, he was really good, but could he have kept that pace up? I don't know, and we'll have to see next year because I'm hoping he goes back because they were a perfect fit. Can you imagine what he could do with Michael Thomas and then what I'm assuming would be Chris Olave as another wide receiver, or at worst, Jamison Williams? They're going to draft a wide receiver, and they're going to have a really good receiving core. So I'm excited to see what he can do if he goes back to the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And then Baker Mayfield, he was hurt, so I didn't hold too much of the torn labrum stuff against him just because... Kevin Stefanski should have taken him out. Like, yeah, you don't have many options behind him, but you're just hurting your quarterback. Not only physically, but his career as well. Because now he's not going to get paid much. That was his contract year. You're not going to pay him much now because you hurt him and then you kept playing him. So he's not going to look good. Everyone hates on him now. He wasn't elite before he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still a decent quarterback. He gets the job done. He's perfect for their system. So he's 14 to me. Then Matt Ryan. I think you take Matt Ryan and put him on a better team. He's a much better quarterback than what you would guess from the Falcons. Because they have no O-line. They have one receiver at most, and Ridley didn't even want to play for most of the year. They had Cordero Patterson, which was good for 4 weeks of really good play, and then it was back to, it's Cordero Patterson. You give him a good team, he is a really good quarterback still. I want to see him leave. I want to see them build around him, or he needs to leave because Matt Ryan deserves better, and I want to see him get his ring before he leaves the NFL entirely. And then Tua Tagovailoa. I really like Tua in the sense that he is perfect for their system. I can see you shaking your head.
Mm-mm.
But he's not number 1 overall pick, which I'm glad he didn't go. I'm glad he didn't go 2 or 3 in that draft. But Tua gets a lot of hate for someone who has now one receiving threat, no running game, no O-line. They were the literal worst in the NFL by a lot, by the way. And that's over the Panthers, who were horrible, and the Texans, who lost their only good O-lineman this year. I know. They were behind in so many ways on the O-line. I don't think anyone even got a 60 PFF grade. And that's already someone you'd want to replace. They were all in the 50s and 40s as O-linemen. You're getting shredded by people like the Bills, who picked up their pass rushing, and the Patriots, who Matt Judon just ate through their line. Tua's getting sacked or under pressure almost every single play, and he's still getting the job done. You put him on a decent team, he's a good quarterback. He's not great, he's not elite, he'll never be elite because he just doesn't have the arm strength to be elite. But I think Mike McDaniel is going to be a perfect fit for the Dolphins, and we're going to see a big renaissance for Tua. Go ahead.
All right. Well, with that, I have Derek Carr at 11. I have Matt Ryan at 12, just because I know he has the what's the word? He has the power to do it, but also he has the skills and mindset to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of the tools around him. I have Mac Jones at 13.
Why? What has Mac Jones done to show he has any talent whatsoever? What has he done to prove that he's better than, for example, Kirk Cousins?
Because Mac Jones has gone to the Pro Bowl. Well, I know Kirk Cousins went to.
And Pro Bowls don't matter either way. It's a fan vote.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Mac Jones. I just feel like, obviously with most Alabama quarterbacks, what you get is what you get. There isn't really much more you can do with them in terms of like raising their ceiling or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the current system that they have over at the Patriots, I feel like Mac Jones has a lot of potential if the Patriots can get a good core around him, better offensive line, or they can improve a little bit. Better receiving core. I feel like Mac Jones could really do something. That's
Do more than Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, absolutely. The fuck?
All Mac Jones does is throw a 3-yard deep check down.
And
That's
what
he
gets
never
the
goes
job
deep.
done. That's what gets the job done. I mean, that's
But
the
did
whole
it?
system. That's what Brady did.
He didn't even make the playoffs.
And neither did Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but that's because their defense was non-existent.
So that's why I have Kirk Cousins at 14, because he is overrated as fuck. I will stand by that. I will die on that hill. He is overpaid.
Oh, overpaid.
He's
no
good.
question.
Don't get me wrong, but he's old. He's getting older. He's not going to improve anymore. That's why I have Mac Jones higher, because he's young. He has more room to grow. First, Kirk Cousins, he's not. And then I have Carson Wentz at 15. And then I have Jalen Hurts at 16.
Ouch. You want to explain those two?
Well, Carson Wentz, he's fucking great on the Eagles. Obviously, he's shit
Yeah, but he's not the
afterwards.
Eagles guy anymore.
No, absolutely not. But I feel like with their new head coach, I forget his name, but
Frank Reich?
was it?
Yeah, Frank Reich is who he's reunited with in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I feel like if they can figure out the offense a little bit better, Carson Wentz has a little bit more time to watch film and really understand the offense. Whereas during the season, it kind of just looked like he was kind of like bullshitting it most of the time. So I feel like Carson Wentz has a lot of potential still, even though obviously he's not who he used to be. I still feel like he has potential to be a good quarterback. Maybe not be I can run this for like 20 yards or that kind of guy anymore, because obviously he's fucked up knee. But I feel like if he can adapt to his current like physical capabilities, then I feel like he has potential of being really good. And then I have Jalen Hurts at 16. Obviously, it's another thing where he went to Bama, but then he was transferred to OU. I believe in Jalen Hurts. I feel like he can improve a lot. I mean, the Eagles are kind of shit too, but I feel like if they can get him a little bit more, I feel like if they can just give him a little bit more tools, he'd be able to really do something.
Okay. You want to go into 17 to 20?
I have Tua at 17. I have Tannehill at 18. I have Jimmy G at 19. I fucking hate Jimmy Garoppolo. I will stand on that hill too.
We know.
I fucking hate him. And then I have Baker Mayfield at 20.
Mm-hmm.
For being the... Wait, hold on. Is that 5? No. Is it?
What?
Who did I start off with? I started off with Tua, right?
Yeah.
Tua, 10, okay, and then I have Daniel Jones at 21. I don't like Jimmy G just because he is a bottom tier serviceable quarterback. Like, yes, he can make a throw or two when he needs to, but if you're really just dumping it off to someone and expecting a play to happen, you're basically just there just to feed the ball. I mean, obviously that's a quarterback's job, but a quarterback's supposed to be able to make plays. They're able to guide the offense and do all that shit. But Jimmy G, I don't know. It's like he's so dependent. That's the what I'm telling you. He's so dependent on other players to do the job for him. That's why I don't think he's a good quarterback.
Okay.
He's just like stupid, dependent on everyone. And then Baker Mayfield, he played through injury. He's really stupid. Kevin Stefanski shouldn't have started him after he tore his labrum. Should have given him a lot more time to recover. I feel like when Baker's good, he's like really good. But when he's bad, he's very bad. It's a very hot and cold player. So that's why I'm having him at 20. But I feel like if he's always consistently playing really good, I have him a lot higher. I have him around like the 15 or 14 if he consistently played well. But since he's very hot and cold, let's have him lower. And then Daniel Jones. Yeah, see, after 20, this is where my list kind of gets like, all these guys are kind of ass. So I really don't know where to put them.
All right.
Yeah, Daniel Jones at 21. Dude's a fucking... No, he's ass. I don't know why the Giants took him out of Duke. There's so many draft reports saying, don't... Like, this guy, he's like a second round or third rounder. Like, he's not going to be good. Or he's not going to be... He's not equal of a first round talent. Giants took him at first round anyway. I think he was... What was it? Pick 9? Or pick 8?
I think so.
Back in whatever draft that was.
19.
Yeah, when Nate took Daniel Jones, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? There was other quarterbacks in that draft they could have taken. They still decided to fucking choose Daniel Jones.
Not in the first round.
Well, not in the first round, yeah. Like, none of the quarterbacks that you're really first round talents. Well,
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
But aside from him, nobody really.
Yeah, aside from him. But yeah, I have him at 21.
All right. I wouldn't mind. At 17, I have Jared Goff. I mean, I know he gets a lot of hate, but he was also on the Lions. Like,
he didn't do shit with the Rams either, and the Rams are significant.
No, he wasn't great on the Rams. That's why he's 17. But he's better than all the quarterbacks I have here. I think, I don't know. I could see him falling a little bit, but he's certainly in that 17 to 21 range. Then I have Teddy Bridgewater. I know you picked Drew Lock as their starter instead.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a difference in who we picked as quarterback for the Broncos, so we're going to have a difference in the list because of it. Bridgewater, he's not a clutch quarterback. He's not stellar, but he'll do decent. He wasn't horrible, and until he got destroyed by that concussion. He got hurt, twice this year?
I remember he was good on the Vikings.
Yeah, he was good on the Vikings. He tore his ACL. He was actually pretty good on the Panthers, but they went 8-8, so they blamed it on him and got rid of him and pick up Darnold, which is stupid. You'll hear about Darnold in a moment for both of us because he's real low. I don't know. Bridgewater definitely deserves a little bit more credit for what he does, considering how many times he's gotten hurt and all that. But I don't know. He's not great, and I really want the Broncos to draft a quarterback because...
I want them to go after Rodgers.
Yes, it would be great if they could get Rodgers. But if Rodgers doesn't go there, that's what I'm assuming.
Rodgers would look great in the Broncos uniform.
Maybe.
I think it fits him.
I'd be terrified of them, but it doesn't make as much sense for them to pay the $30 million a year to Devontae Adams because they have a stacked receiving core already. Mm-hmm. You don't need a fourth receiver, excuse me. So, in the end, I like Teddy Bridgewater, but he's not anything higher than 18 just because he doesn't have the clutch and he's not elite. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a system quarterback, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but if you're a system quarterback, you can't be much higher than 16, which is where the system starts with Tua. System quarterbacks can be good, but Jimmy Garoppolo isn't quite as good as I would like him to be, considering all the things around him. He does get a little bit extra hate, from you, but he still isn't a great quarterback. So
he's not good either. He is sub-serviceable.
Subserviceable.
Well, he's serviceable, but like dog shit on the bottom of a barrel serviceable.
I don't know about that, but
I don't like
in the end, he's not the perfect fit for the Niners. I'm excited to see the Trey Lance era whenever that starts, whether it be next year or the year after that. And then 20 is Ryan Tannehill. Very similar to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a system quarterback. If you don't have Derrick Henry there, realistically, Tannehill's not going to be as good as his numbers might suggest. And, I'm not a big Ryan Tannehill fan in the fact that he has so much to work with and they aren't winning Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
When you can run it 40 times a game, you don't need to be that good of a quarterback. That's just what it comes down to.
He literally sold the game to the Bengals.
Yeah, and I did a video on it. 3 picks. I mean, one of them completely wasn't his fault. But still, he has so much more to work with than people might think at first glance because he does have A.J. Brown. He had Julio Jones. I mean, yes, there were injuries and there was COVID and all that. But in the end, he never proved that he was worth all the hype that the Titans were worth. And so I would like to see the Titans move on. I mean, not this year because there's not enough quarterback capital for each team that should move on.
Mm-hmm.
So they should stay put, ride with Tannehill for another year, then see if they can get out of it. And then at 21, since that's where you stopped, I have Carson Wentz. Wentz also is very system in my opinion. And sometimes they try to make him the system, and that's when they suck. And they lost to the Jaguars in the most important game of their entire season because they couldn't run the ball. And so what did they do? They didn't throw it effectively because Carson Wentz is their quarterback. And now they might not even want to have him. They give up a first for him. Now they don't even want him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz is kind of a disappointment after the injuries. It's a shame because he was really good, but he's just not who he used to be. He's not Carson Wentz anymore. He's a different kind of guy, and the Colts are going to be held back by him, but they should ride with him for as long as his contract is because...
It's not like they have any other options.
Exactly. They don't have any other options, just like the Titans. Like, you're kind of stuck right now because you're not the most needy team, so you're not going to give up as much. Plus, the Colts have a little bit more to build up before they can go, all right, now's our time for a quarterback. So, I don't know. The Colts really should not have screwed over Andrew Luck like that, and they would not be in this situation at all, and they probably would have had a ring by now. But, nice job, guys. All right, then I'll go into 22 through 26, I guess. 22, Mac Jones. He's very system to me. He's like Tua, but not as good right now because Tua at least tries to go deep and makes more with less. I think the offense with the Patriots has already peaked, and that's where my issue with Mac Jones comes in. I was a Mac Jones kind of supporter in the draft. I thought everyone was giving him too much hate. People are saying, oh, he's not even worth the first round. Yes, he is. He's a first rounder. But
Not
for a late first rounder, I don't know. He's not as much as people
10,
think.
Right?
No, he got drafted at 15. 10 was Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah. There's that draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Mac Jones doesn't deserve to be in the Pro Bowl. He was only there because Allen elected not to go and Burrow was in the Super Bowl. He was like 5th string Pro Bowl quarterback. Mac Jones is completely overrated. People just want to like him because he went to Alabama. He's on the Patriots. They kind of can see resemblance of Tom Brady because he checks down. And it's like if Tom Brady lacked everything that made him the best, that's Mac Jones.
Shit.
I don't like Mac Jones in the NFL. He's just not enough to ever make your offense better. Your offense is never going to do better with Mac Jones. They peaked, and you could tell because all of a sudden they started losing. Everyone was like, oh my god, they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And then all of a sudden they started losing. They lost to the Cowboys. The Cowboys were stalling that game too. They were handing the game away and they still didn't win. All because they don't have no firepower. And it's not something that, an extra player would do. It's not that he's throwing deep balls and people are dropping them or that nobody's open. He's only throwing it 3 yards down the field. They have no room for depth. It's very similar to Taylor Heineke in the sense that you're never going to be able to go deep. Taylor Heineke's much lower on the list because he has a lot of flaws. But you're never going to be able to go deep with Mac Jones in the same way you can with other people. And so Mac Jones really is limited already. And it's like you said, Alabama, their floor is their ceiling. You get them, and that's what you get. And Mac Jones, we know what we got. He's a 22nd quarterback. That's plain and simple. That's where he is. I don't see him going up much unless other quarterbacks on the list drop because of injuries and stuff. So I don't really like Mac Jones as a Patriots quarterback because the Patriots are better than Mac Jones lets them be. I don't trust him. Next, Daniel Jones. I really don't like Daniel. I mean, I like that he's on the Giants because then it makes the Giants suck. But he's a major reason the Giants suck. He has no O-line, so you can't blame him entirely, but he still fumbles a lot. He still misses the most important throws. I don't know. He's not a good quarterback, and I don't trust him to face a franchise. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year in New York. Because in the end, Brian Dable's going to go be a coach. He's going to ride Daniel Jones. He's going to try to draft O-lineman, hopefully, and go, all right, you have no excuses. Prove what you can do. And he's going to suck because it's Daniel Jones. And then it's going to be a whole thing where Brian Dable goes, why did I leave Buffalo? I had Josh Allen. But instead, now I'm stuck with Daniel Jones and a falling apart team that never really was good since Eli Manning was in charge. Like, a very poorly run team. He's picking it up from the ground. And Daniel Jones is part of that. 24 is Davis Mills, mostly because he's so raw as a prospect. I see him as one of the people with a lot of room to jump in this QB rankings because I did that video on him. I think he has a lot of talent. Yes, he's not great right now, but he had nothing to work with. He didn't have a run game. He didn't have an O-line because your O-line was hurt all year. He had one receiver of Brandon Cooks. Like, what did he have to work with? Farrell Brown? Cool. Like, he did a lot considering, and so I would like to see him take that next step because he proved he can take the steps. So now I want to see him take that next step. And yeah, he'll never be elite, but I could see him landing up in the 15 to 11 range if he really maxes out his potential. Just because he is very much a good quarterback in the sense that he has the right arm strength, he has the right mindset of wanting to go deep. It's just he isn't a freak of nature. He isn't some crazy guy like the one behind him, Zach Wilson, where if Zach Wilson can get the ball out a little bit quicker and the Jets can build better around him and block for him a little bit longer, I'm terrified of Zach Wilson. Yes, he's small. And yes, he threw a lot of picks. But how much of that was his fault? I watched a lot of film. Not as much as you'd think. Zach Wilson holds on to the ball for too long. Absolutely. He needs to fix that. That's his biggest flaw. 110%. But he's got an extremely strong arm, and very much it feels like when he's getting drafted. You're looking at him going, look at all this potential. He didn't lose any potential this year, surprisingly. And he got hurt, and he came back almost better. Like, they won some games after he got hurt. So I think he's going to settle down a little bit because he's going to realize, oh, I'm not in BYU anymore. I'm not playing other independent schools. I'm going up against real NFL defenses. I'm hoping he can make the jump because I really like Zach Wilson, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't because it's a Jets quarterback. He's probably going to fail. Then right after him is Jalen Hurts. He's pretty close up to Zach Wilson. It's just I've done a video on Jalen Hurts, and I know where he stands in terms of can he be a franchise quarterback. He needs to take a lot of steps because you said that they kind of stuck around him. I don't know if I agree with that. He had a pretty good O-line, and he had what ended up being ranked the number one running game in the NFL. And if you can't succeed as a passer when you have the number one running back or running game in the NFL, I'm concerned. Because all you have to do is play action, hit a guy. You have Devontae Smith, and yeah, you don't have great receivers after him, but you can make service with Quez Watkins, and not Rager, but Watkins you can work with. And I forget his other name, the other guy's name, but they have one more receiver who's serviceable. Dallas Goedert is good. I mean, yeah, he's not elite, but he's a really good tight end. And you have the number one running game in the NFL where people are going to start cover 3ing you and having one high safety shell. If you can't win as a passer with a great wide receiver in Devontae Smith, who kept making catches when I was watching Jalen Hurts film, I just kept getting surprised at, Jesus, he makes so many good catches and so many good plays. If he didn't have Devontae Smith, he'd be a horrible quarterback. But he really is holding back the Eagles' offense. And I want to see him draft another wide receiver because it would be helpful for Jalen Hurts' development if he had 2 receiving threats instead of 1 in terms of depth, because Dallas Goedert is a good receiver, but you're probably not going to run your tight end super far. So Jalen Hurts lands at 26. He's kind of the end of the quarterbacks that are going to stay around next year, except for the rookies. So you can go into your 22 through 26.
Like I said before, this list is kind of more or less, it wasn't thrown together, but after the cliff, I had a hard time kind of ranking them. I have Jared Goff at 22. I have Taylor Heineke at 23. I included Trey Lance on this group, so I do have one more quarterback on my list. At 24, only because we haven't seen him play. Even then, even though we haven't seen him play that much, I have him over Sam Darnold, who's dog shit. I also have Taysom Hill on here instead of Jameis Winston. Great utility player, shit quarterback.
Yep.
As far as reasoning goes, I just feel like Jared Goff is a little bit overrated. He is decent. He's not good. He's decent.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke, he has his bright spots here and there. It's nothing special, but he's suitable for right now. Ready to get my reading for Trey Lance. Sam Darnold's a sorry excuse for a quarterback.
Yep.
Everyone thought, oh, the Jets were the problem. I knew the Jets were not the problem.
Darnold is the problem.
He's dog shit. He is, even though it sucks too, because him and Josh Rosen, both coming out of UCLA and USC, like the pride and joy of LA, the college campuses that rule LA, and yet got nothing.
They were horrible.
Shit. Josh Rosen, I don't even think he's on the team right now. He might be a free agent.
He's practice squatting.
Practice squad. Sam Darnold,
Falcons.
dog shit.
Yep.
Taysom Hill, quarterback, dog shit. Any other position, it's decent.
Yeah, he's a serviceable. I think he played linebacker in one of his first years as a utility. He's played running back. He's pretty good, but is he a quarterback you want starting? No.
Hell no.
You want to go into your last 27 through?
Yeah.
Because you have 33, but I'll go to 32.
Yeah. Last one, Trevor Lawrence at 27. I feel like he has room to grow. I still stand by he is the best prospect out of that draft. He just needs a better team around him. They did get Doug Marrone, who's obviously a way better head coach. He's a pretty good head coach in my opinion.
Yeah, Peterson's good.
Was it Doug Marrone?
Doug Peterson.
That.
Yeah, he's got a championship, you know.
Yeah, so I feel like with that, Trevor Lawrence should be able to make a giant leap in terms of what he can do, but I still have him ranked low just because it's undetermined.
Yeah.
I have Justin Fields at 28. He's dog shit. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Most of the time, Ohio State quarterbacks aren't that good to begin with. 29, I have Dwayne Haskins / Mason Rudolph. We don't really know who's going to be the starting quarterback at the end of the day. Ben Roethlisberger retiring. So it's kind of like a toss-up between the two. Regardless of who it is, they're still going to be ranked 29 because, one, Dwayne Haskins is shit. Mason Rudolph, he's a little bit better, but still shit. Apparently racist, according to Myles Garrett. I don't fuck with that.
I forgot about that.
I don't know. It's just, he reminds me of one of those.
He's just so punchable.
Yeah.
I'd want to hit him.
He's a very punchable face. He looks like the kind of guy's like, oh, I'm on daddy's yacht. Like with the polo shorts and a fucking Michelle Light in his fucking hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a good human being. I don't know him, but in my opinion, he doesn't look like a great human being. Davis Mills at 30. I do feel like he can make, like you said before, the giant leap if he has a good team around him. It's very dependent. Obviously, the front office of the Texans are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
They are dog shit.
Lovie Smith.
And Lovie Smith's not terrible. But I would have much rather seen Eric Bieniemy from fucking Kansas City. Hell, even Brian Flores. See, this is the same front office that hired fucking Culley or whatever his fucking name was.
God, Dave Culley was such
Dave
a
Culley. When they hired him as a head coach from last year, I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, this dude has zero experience. He's a shit defensive coach. Why the fuck would you hire him? But that's that. Zach Wilson at 31. This is where I'm kind of iffy. I feel like he does have potential to be good.
Yeah.
But it's just very dependent on him and what he can do if he can figure it out. And then at 32, I have Kyle Trask, just because he's never played in the game, but he did learn under Brady. But because I have him ranked low, just because we've never seen him play.
Yeah.
No idea how he's
that's
going to
fair.
be. And at 33, I have Drew Lock. The sorriest excuse for a quarterback.
Which, once again,
He
I
has
don't have Drew
swag.
Lock.
Don't get me wrong.
And he can rap.
He can rap. But he is dog shit. He's not even dog shit. He is like aged dog shit on the bottom of his shoe that hasn't been cleaned in 4 years. He's ass. He's hot ass.
So I take it you don't like him.
I don't know. He's dog. But yeah, that's my quarterback rankings. It's not great. It's not good. It's not bad either, in my opinion. I feel like it's pretty ballpark for a majority of them. There's nothing super outlandish, but yeah, I did that at like 1 a.m. in the morning. So actually no, like 2:30.
Yeah, that's what it takes. What it takes to be an analyst. I'll go into mine. 27's Taylor Heineke. He's one hell of a backup, but it comes down to Heineke doesn't have the arm strength, and that's where it ends, really. He's a good quarterback. He's pretty good with his accuracy, but in the end, Washington was held back by his play, and Washington's a pretty good team surrounding him in terms of certain things. Not others, but I don't know. I love Heineke, and I want him to stay our backup for a really long time, but you can't treat him like a rookie when he has such a weak arm, and that hurt us. That hurt Washington a lot. And then 28 is Trevor Lawrence. You throw 17 picks and don't win a lot, that's what you get. Trevor Lawrence has a lot of potential, and a lot of the issues were from the Jaguars, but he also didn't do well. In the end, I think there's going to be a big improvement from this season to next season for Trevor Lawrence, because you aren't going to have a head coach who's crazy. You're not going to have a head coach get fired in the middle of the year.
Urban Meyer.
You're not going to have drama where your best running back isn't playing. You're not going to have... Well, you're going to have an extra running back now. You're going to have a better O-line with Evan Neal. In the end, there's going to be a lot of improvements around Trevor Lawrence this year. And I think Doug Peterson is going to take Trevor Lawrence to another level. So I'm hoping he can do that. But I think next year will be more of a true experiment with Lawrence. This year can basically be washed out, because it doesn't matter. He had so many things happening around him that he couldn't control that helped the team be bad. They probably were even tanking, if we're being honest. So Lawrence kind of got screwed over by his selection, and I'd like to see what he can do on another team. 29, Sam Darnold. I pretty much have the same sentiment as him. Darnold's bad. Darnold's really bad, and he found a way to make a Christian McCaffrey-led offense bad. I don't know how you do that.
Well, I mean, CMC was injured a lot, though.
Yeah, but
to be fair,
he still had him for a couple of games, and they still weren't great.
Yeah.
The Panthers had more potential than you'd think, considering how bad they were, and Darnold was a part of the issue. 30, Justin Fields. I think he's the worst rookie to come out this year that actually got to play, because Trey Lance and Kyle Trask kind of had the question for me. But even then, Trey Lance was better than Fields in the time I got to see him. Fields does not fit the Bears system in any way. He was a terrible pick for them, and in the end, I don't know if he'll ever be able to pull out of that. Just because the Bears have so far to go before they can even kind of fit Fields' play style, and Fields is not going to adjust his play style. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to Zach Wilson, where you hold the ball for a long time, except Zach Wilson is significantly more electric in a lot of ways, and that can lead to hot and cold, but I don't like Fields. His attitude seems rough to me. This is probably something personal that I see in him, but he kind of seems almost upset to be playing sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. He didn't even smile when he was drafted. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. You should at least be excited to go try to change Chicago. Plus, Mitch Trubisky was better in the same system. So,
yeah,
that says a lot. When you're not good, but someone else was decent, Andy Dalton was better than him. It's just there was pressure to put him in. So I think Fields is the worst quarterback who got to play this year. Then we fall into 31 and 32, which are teams that lost quarterbacks to retirement, and they go here because they suck. Kyle Trask, we don't know. I have a lot of faith that he'll be able to kind of pull it together and at least be decent. And then Mason Rudolph, 32. You want to put Dwayne Haskins here? Go ahead. I'll put him at 33 and have no quarterback at 32.
They're pretty
Because
interchangeable.
Dwayne Haskins is absolutely horrible. You can tell why I think that. But Mason Rudolph is going to lose games. He's not a winner. Neither is Dwayne Haskins. So either way, they're not going to do very well as long as they keep that quarterback. So in the end, I would like to see the Steelers draft a quarterback in the second round, someone like Carson Strong out of Nevada. I think that'd be a really good fit, but we'll see what they do. Yeah, those are the 32 quarterbacks. He had 33, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the NFL falls with this new thing, just because there's so many quarterbacks that are going to potentially move. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, they're all Kyler Murray. They're all potentially on the move. Even Carson Wentz is kind of on the trade block. And then there's going to be rookies who are drafted, like Matt Corral, Sam Howell, you name it. So then we'll go Brian Flores. We got to talk about it because it's kind of interesting. Brian Flores was hired by the Steelers as an assistant linebacker coach?
Something like that, like senior defensive assistant or some shit like that.
Yeah. Brian Flores, all right.
Yeah, linebackers coach.
Jeez. So, a big downgrade for him. He was a really good head coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, senior defensive assistant.
He was really good. And I know the Dolphins sucked, but that was mostly because when you don't block for your quarterback, what do you expect? You're going to suck. So, it's a shame to see him go to a position instead of at least being a defensive coordinator. But oh well. I mean, they'll be able to recover. And it's really good for TJ Watt. Can you imagine TJ Watt getting better?
Yeah.
Or someone else being able to rally behind TJ Watt? That's exciting. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what he can do with development of players. And then it's kind of a shame to see him kind of die down. But yeah. I know.
We'll see what happens. It's a very weird situation that we're in.
Yeah.
That lawsuit definitely cost them a lot of head coaching jobs.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's right, NFL's in trouble.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they'll never be in trouble. NFL's super corrupt. But It's good to see someone doing the right thing.
I mean, when it comes to racism, like, Jesus, like, it's run by a bunch of fucking 80-year-old white dudes that lived in the fucking Jim Crow laws era, so...
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Next, Kayvon Thibodeau is the number one prospect in the NFL.
He doesn't want to go to LA because of income taxes. I thought that shit was so funny.
Who doesn't?
I think it was Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh, really?
I think he's
I know DJ... Ooh, I'm not going to say his name right. Uwongole, the quarterback for Clemson, who ended up kind of sucking. He was like, I want to go to either Florida or Texas. No, he's Clemson.
No, he was from St. Joe Bosco.
Yeah. That's it.
No, I think it was Kayvon Thibodeau that said that he's a Rams fan, but he doesn't want to go to the Rams or any LA team because of income, or any California team because of income tax.
Yeah.
So he said after, like, once I get drafted, I'll just be a Rams fan afterwards. I'm like, fair enough, dude.
That's fair.
That's fair. I thought that shit was so funny when I read that, though. I was like, fuck, dude, you're right.
Yeah, he has a point there. But there was another rumor that also went around where people are saying he doesn't have the competitive fire, making him fall down draft boards pretty significant. To me, he's still the best edge in the class. I have him going 2 at the Lions. I have a lot of reasons for that.
I want Aiden Hutchinson to stay in Michigan.
I don't like that fit as much.
Really? I think that's just, like, cool.
I'll get into the fit. All right. So I wrote about this on my website, but Kayvon Thibodeau has a higher ceiling, and yes, he does have a lower floor, but that's what the Lions are here for. They're not going to start winning next year. They're not all knocking on the door of being good. Mm-hmm. They have so many years to develop that why wouldn't you pick the guy who could develop to be one of the best edge rushers in the entire NFL? I don't see why Hutchinson would be a better option because I think Thibodeau is better against the run, and I think he's also a really good pass rusher.
He's younger.
He's better, especially since they need run help the most. You would pick the best. It's like if you could pick Clowney, you'd pick Clowney as them because they need so much run help. Mm-hmm. You want someone who's going to be able to defend against the run and be able to take out because they were actually pretty good against the pass, but they were 32nd, I think, against the run. So they need a run stopper, and they're going to get it with Thibodeau versus Hutchinson. He's got a higher floor but lower ceiling. He's less likely to develop under their system, and I like his fit better on pretty much any other team, just because Thibodeau is literally made for the Lions. Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that Hutchinson going there would be kind of cute. Like, oh my god, our guy stayed home. But if you really wanted to get it in like a football term, if he didn't go to Michigan, nobody would be saying Hutchinson to the Lions.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But that competitive fire thing was saying that he doesn't have any competitive fire, so people are going, oh, Hutchinson's better. No. It's coming out of nowhere. It's very similar to what Justin Fields got last year. I forget who it was the year before. But there's every year, the media picks one guy where they just decide, we're going to take down his stock. Every week, a new rumor is going to come out about him saying, oh, he's not a good teammate. He doesn't work hard. He's just physically gifted. He sucks to be around in the locker room. And then all of a sudden, you're like, where did this come from?
Like Eli Apple. You see all this stuff that's been coming out from other players of his past teammates?
Not really.
No, well, apparently, like, I forget who it was, but allegedly it's one of the players from his former team. They said they described him as a cancer. And then, yeah, a lot of other, like, former teammates are just talking shit about Eli Apple, so I guess all the hate that's coming towards him has been warranted.
Yeah, if he really is a bad person, he deserves it.
This shit's funny, though. He talks so much shit, and then just get burnt by Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, I feel bad for Thibodeau because they're just kind of preying on him. And the last one was a baseball one. Might as well talk a little bit. Right. Will the MLB even be able to start a schedule? Because
fuck no.
MLB's saying, oh my god, we have to delay everything. No, right now we don't. And the Players Union admitted that it's not necessary right now. Do you think they can work out anything before opening day?
No.
They have a month and a half.
I don't think so. I mean, the last fucking meeting was only 15 minutes.
Yep.
That's just, nothing's gotten done. We've been at this since December, okay? Like, it was December 17th. It was a late teens day. I think it was 17th or 18th. But
wow.
It's the fact that we're already in February, at the back end of February, and nothing has gone through except for the universal DH, which I do like, actually. I do like that rule. I do like that they're going to implement that. But, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we start on time. But it's not going to be significant, like when the COVID season happened, how we ended up starting in the summer. But I don't think there will be a lot, if any, games in March, and maybe it leaks into April. But
well, normally there's like 3 games in March. It's like certain teams will start on March 31st. Is their opening day?
No, didn't we start? They've
spring training
earlier.
is March.
No, yeah, but they started like on the 27th though.
Oh, thanks. I think it's very like last couple days in March. So really, not many games get played anyway in March. I'm more concerned that April is going to be not actually a starting date.
I don't think the base or MLB starts on time. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Depressing. Yeah,
because the owners are fucking greedy.
So,
and the Players Association's also not that great either.
At least they're trying to stand up for minor leaguers.
Yeah, that is awful. Rob Manfred, do better. Yep. Jesus Christ, dude. You hire a lawyer to argue why minor leaguers, who are also professional athletes, not to get paid during spring training. They get paid in experience, as they described it. I'm like, that's like the same shit as saying as like an influencer goes to a small shop and they say, oh, we're not going to pay you to do an ad, we're going to give you exposure. Or it's like, I feel like an actor, small-time actor is doing something with a bigger actor, like, oh, we're not going to pay you for your many hours of service here, we're going to give you exposure. It's the same fucking difference, and it's so dumb.
Yep.
And it's like,
horrible.
Do better. They make $1,000 less than the poverty line here in the United States. Poverty line is $13,000. I make $12,000 a year. Me working part-time for 8 months, I've made a third of that.
But don't worry, they totally are getting livable wages. So yeah, that was kind of it for this week. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's been a good time. And we'll be back again next week at noon talking about more sports.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.